This video is about me, a regular dude, and my unexpected journey trying to make sense of America's real problem. But before I answer this, let's rewind a bit. "2020.
Happy New Year and welcome to 2020.
Happy 2020.
A time of coming together to beat a global pandemic and uniting for positive social change has America divided. For the past few months, I cycled through feeling anxious to hopeful to pessimistic consistently. And then when George Floyd got murdered, I felt so angry. But I was tired of just sitting around and doing nothing. And I actually wanted to be a part of the positive social change going on, and I wanted to help it. So I started by having hard conversations, going to protests, watching documentaries, and swiping through those educational thingies on Instagram. And I noticed some clear trends. The president is racist, our country is racist, the police are bad, the media is bad, Trump supporters are ignorant, irrational, and silencing good. It was so clear that this is the real problem, and yet half the country was just ignoring it. So to change this, I made a video. I started to make this video about my stance against racism, how others are ignorant, how we should defund the police, and about standing on the right side of history alongside epic and positive montages of protesting. Finally, I finished it. My relatives who are conservatives needed to watch this. So I showed it to them and they literally just started laughing at me. They said the video was pointless. At first, I was so mad at them. I thought they were the ones being ignorant and were exactly the problem with America. But the more I had hard conversations and reflected, I realized three hard things about my video. My video was, 1, not persuasive at all. 2, it was pretty biased. It basically said that conservatives are racist and how young liberals are the only ones fighting to make America better. And 3, this one's the hardest for me to admit still. The video was basically me trying to prove to the world that I'm a good person. The main takeaway from the video was, look at me, I'm not racist. So after all of that, I felt pretty stuck. It wasn't that I didn't have anything to say. I had a lot to say, but I was even more scared of making the wrong step. I was scared if I changed my video and it wasn't the perfect social activist warrior mode version of the video, that I would just get permanently canceled online. So I completely scrapped the video and gave up. But as a last resort, I called my friend and told him about the whole situation. And he helped me realize something.
Listen, Adam, this is actually good.
He helped me realize that I should not post that video, but instead I should post a different video, one that's way more real. This one. So even though I'm really scared still, here it is. For this new video, I began my search in a different way. I spent dozens of hours and purposely chose to listen to both sides of political news and purposely read articles that I disagreed with. And here's what I saw. Here's what I saw. In America, we have the left versus the right, aka politics. Here's the left. Many identify as liberals, Democrats, Black Lives Matter supporters, or known to the right as misled, blind, Antifa, terrorists trying to destroy our government, anti-American, ignorant, and wrong. So to the right, the left is clearly the problem with America. And then we have the right. Many identify as conservatives, Republicans, Trump supporters, or known to the left as selfish, blatant racist, Trump fanboys, anti-gay rights, uneducated, modern Nazis, white supremacists, ignorant, wrong. But I know this can't all be true. I still don't know which side was more right, and after spending so long trying to figure out the answer, I was now more confused and less confident than ever. So Before completely giving up, as my final step, I decided to ask my friends directly what they think is the real problem with America.
Let's see it.
And, well, where to start?
Zero leadership.
Trump and his minions.
Joe Biden. People are soft.
Racism.
Americans think too much about their rights.
White supremacy.
Society is too focused on labels.
Black Lives Matter is a hoax. Lack of collective identity.
Hyper-patriotism.
Too much freedom.
Oppression.
The hypocrisy and the double standards.
Education. Division. People.
Everything.
Half our country thinks the other half is the problem. But what I started to see now is that this same half thinks the other half is the problem. I felt like everyone's pushing the other side away, painting them as the most extreme, ridiculous versions of themselves, and crossing them off as wrong. Think about it. Have you done this? I definitely did. Everyone is screaming, but no one is listening, and by this point, this is how America started to look.
America
Is the greatest
Country.
On Earth.
America is the greatest place on earth.
Period.
The highest standard of living in the world.
Land of the free and the home of the brave.
Racism, violence, and inequality plaguing America.
The American dream.
People can live without fear.
Black Lives Matter is killing Americans.
It is definitely not about black
We
lives.
live in a racist country.
The United States of America is
A nation in crisis.
the freest, fairest, least racist, most generous, welcoming nation and economic force for global good the world has ever known.
So what is the real problem? After I made that pretty epic montage, I think I found the answer that I was looking for. In 1910, someone did something very similar to me. Someone put a survey out in the London newspaper asking for essay responses to the question, what's wrong with the world? Dozens of renowned authors wrote essays about poverty, classism, the environment, social issues, everything. And then one person wrote, Dear Sirs, I am yours truly, G.K. Chesterton. And ironically, the most simple answer completely changed my perspective. I was looking all over for someone else to blame, while every single other person also was. If everyone's pointing fingers at other people, we don't have progress. We just have an entire country pointing fingers at each other. So I think I like this answer the most. And now, like actually right now, I think this has nothing to do with the left or the right. There's ridiculous and good people on both sides. So maybe the dividing line between good and evil isn't between the left and the right. Maybe the dividing line is between every single one of us. In order to solve any of our problems, I think you should probably not do what I did in this video. Throughout this whole journey, I've been trying to figure out who or what's the real problem with America. And now that I'm finished with it, I think there really isn't even an answer. Or at least I don't have one. So maybe this isn't even the right question to be asking. But the biggest thing I learned is that we desperately need more conversations. Throughout the whole journey, I had so many different conversations, but I never emphasized them or talked about them because I thought they weren't important. They never led me to an answer of who's wrong or who's right, so I just didn't include them. But honestly, these conversations taught me the most compared to anything else about empathy. And I think we could all use a little more of this in our country. Despite all the things that I see on the news, despite all the things that divide and separate us, the experiences I've had actually talking to real people around the country tell a different story. A story of all ages and backgrounds, ethnicities coming together, of people who have hurt others in the past, who are flawed, who made mistakes, who have regrets, but who I still love. Of people that are selfless just for the pure sake of kindness. Of Americans that aren't perfect, who just want to live a good life, just like you and me. We desperately need more open, honest, and uncomfortable conversations. Conversations with people that we disagree with. Conversations with the goal of understanding, not winning. We have to stop canceling and ignoring other people just because we disagree with them. If anything, this just creates a bigger divide and just reinforces their beliefs that you disagree with. So if you disagree with Black Lives Matter, I urge you to talk to a person that's black. And if you disagree with Trump supporters, I urge you to talk to a Trump supporter. And I guarantee just through a simple conversation, we'll start to see things from a new perspective. Now that you've watched this whole weird journey, I have one challenge for you. It may sound crazy, but I propose to both sides of America that together we spend less time talking about people and more time talking to people. And maybe we'll actually start to understand each other as humans and Americans. And once we're able to do that, I really think that we can start to make meaningful progress together.